Hi, and welcome to part two of KDP recurring promotions. And in this video, we're going to discuss where we left off. In the first video, to recap, we went over the Google Calendar and how to create an event, a recurring event. And then the next handoff is automating that um, event. So when this book comes back into the radar 4 weeks from now, we could get some simple alerts from Google Calendar that pop up on our desktop, usually in the upper right corner, saying, this event is going to be happening. But then what happens after that? You end up having to go manually into your tracker, whatever public project management system you're using, and enter the information and schedule it and whatnot. So it can be a little tedious, especially when you have a larger volume of books. And so what we'll do is we'll leverage a business automation tool called Zapier, um, to which basically will talk to Google Calendar and take the information from this event and move it over to Trello. So Trello is my choice of project management application for all books, for publishing and for promotions. And so on this board, each one of these Trello screens here, you'll see this whole thing is called a board. And you basically can create any number of columns, name them however you like. For recurring promotions, I just keep it simple. Anything that's going to be upcoming, that's ready, is put in this column, and then anything that we're working on is just pretty much self-explanatory. In progress, and then when you've scheduled your promotions in KDP and everything, you can just drop that card and move it to done. And I have my project manager do that, but it'd be good for you to do on your own, just so you understand how the process works before outsourcing it. So that's kind of the overview of what Trello is and what we're going to be doing, which is getting these Google events into um, Trello. Now, one thing we want to keep in mind is that when we see these events come up, uh, there's something that we probably should do. Not everybody does it, but is basically submit your books to listings. So there are free listing sites that you can submit your books to 1 week prior to the start date. So in this case, if this is the 30th, by the 23rd, we should have this submitted to the listing sites so they're ready to promote the book on those 2 free days. Now, I use a tool called KDROI that helps automate that. Used to have a VA do it manually, but now I use that. It doesn't really matter whichever way you want to do it, you can. But in order to make sure you don't miss that 7-day window, we're going to build the automation so that it looks at this calendar and says, okay, if I have an event that's going to be coming on the 30th here, I'm going to trigger a card to be created on my Trello board 2 weeks in advance. So this way, those boards are well stocked in the ready column with books that need to be taken care of before the 7-day threshold comes. So in order to do that, we use Zapier, and Zapier, just in sake of time, I have this already created. But when you set up your account in Zapier, you would essentially do make a zap, and you click make a zap, and then you can choose Google Calendar to Trello. So that's what we're doing. We're having Google Calendar events basically triggered and creating those events as in the form of a card on Trello. So event start, create a card. Next, you're going to test your account, your KDP account. I'm sorry, not your KDP account, your Google account. And I just happen to name it KDP Promo Calendar for the calendar that we're trying to use. And then you connect your Trello account and you click test. Make sure your accounts are working. You'll see the green check next to it when it says it's working. Then you will go to step 4, and this is where the filtering comes into place, where it says if your book starts at a particular date, we are going to make sure that this card gets created well in advance before that 7-day window. And I give myself about 17 days. Um, as long as you're giving yourself more than, I'd say, more than 7 or 8 days, so you at least have a day to look at your Trello board and see what's ready to be scheduled, you should be fine. So a good cushion is probably anywhere between 10 to 17 days. Then once you have that filled out, you go to step 5, and this is where you select the board. So the name of my board in Trello, the target of where this card is going to be created, is it's called Free Recurring Promotions Tutorial from GCal. And we can just switch real quick and see that that's Free Recurring Promotions Tutorial from GCal. So Zapier is really intelligent, and it connects to your Trello account and pulls all of the boards that you have listed in your account, so that you can use that, and then you can select the list that you want the card to be created. So in this case, it's going to be the first column, the ready column. And okay, now we're going to put in some really cool things that help bring the information from Google. Your calendar summary. So there's a list of insert fields here. You can click on that, and you can see a bunch of different descriptions that you can put in, or event times and other information that's from your Google event. I just keep it simple, put a summary in there, and that summary is usually the book title of the book that is showing up on your Google Calendar. And then in the description, I put a little description just as a reminder to say the free promo starts, and then the start date of the actual promo, and then a little reminder to submit all of the books no later than 1 week prior to the start date on the card. So I'm going to do that. You can add a little label if you like, assign a member, and then you put the due date. So the due date is actually going to be 7 days before the event time. So that way you can get all of the books submitted to a listing site. That's if you want to do it. If you don't want to do that, then you can just leave this blank. And then you can put a to-do list in, a custom to-do list. Anything you like to do, I like to have my cards archived and make sure that the KDP ROI Chrome plugin is used, and then moving the cards to done. So anything you like to put in there. And then you can test it by, in step 6, seeing an action sample. You can click on that and it'll show you what it will look like when it gets created. And now this is the fun part here. We're going to test, and it's going to show up in the ready column. So we're going to click test app with this sample. Still sending success. Now if we click on here, it's now there. So it copied over everything from my Google Calendar and is now sitting in a ready status, has all my checklist items, and now it's just a matter of the daily checks or the weekly checks that you have set for yourself or your VA to go in and see what's in my ready column, and that needs to be scheduled in your KDP dashboard, as well as any free listing sites if that's what you're going to do. And then they'll just pick it up, move it in progress, and when they are finished with all the tasks that are in there, if you have any of those, then you just move it to done, and that's it. And that's how a recurring event for a book, for a recurring promotion, would happen in an automated fashion, utilizing your Google Calendar, Zapier, and Trello. I hope this helps, and good luck.